Jason, NBA ratings across the board are down. We got into this a little bit on UCSS today. I teased the people what I thought, and I'll let you go first. But real quick, let's start with why you believe the ratings are down, and then we'll get into possible solutions. But the floor is yours. Why do you believe NBA ratings are down right now, Jason?
I don't think it's one magic bullet. I don't think it's one reason. I think it's a combination of a lot of factors. Number one, nobody wants to talk about this. Everybody wants to run from this. I do think it plays into it. The NBA is the most outspoken political league of any league going. Baseball is actually pretty far right, but they don't really talk about it. And the NBA is pretty far left. And when the NFL talked about it, same thing happened with their ratings, where a lot of people sort of lost interest and went away over the whole kneeling thing and everything. I'm not saying it's the overwhelming factor, but I do think it plays a role. Okay, beyond that, I think a lot of people lose interest in the way that the game is played with all the three-pointers. And, there's a clip that went viral a few weeks ago. I forget the teams now, where it was like, I think it might have been the Lakers.
It was like the Lakers versus the Heat, where they didn't play any defense.
It was like 7 or 8 possessions of threes. Yeah. Dribble, shoot a three, go the other way, dribble, shoot a three. Nobody wants to watch that. And so I think that plays into it. Another thing that, one of the obvious ones is just the overwhelming social media presence of everything's on Twitter. Everything you need to see is on Twitter or on YouTube. You can go right there and you can catch up on everything. But what plays into that I don't think people really talk about, this is just my personal opinion. One of the reasons why I believe the NFL is so overwhelmingly popular and so ratings are off the chart and everybody's into it is because they play once a week.
Yeah.
And you can be active and busy with your life. I got 3 kids, running kids all over the place. You can have, you can keep up with your job, with your relationships with your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, and your kids. And you can tune out Monday through Friday, unless they got one of those Monday or Thursday games. But you know what I'm saying? You can go all week. You can completely check out. You can tune back in on Sunday, and you haven't missed a thing. And it allows you to stay more engaged and connected and attached to your team. And I think that goes for college football as well. Whereas the NBA and baseball, games are coming all the time. And it's easy to sort of fall out and sort of miss things. So I think that is – I don't think it gets talked about enough, but I think that's one of the big reasons why the NFL is so popular, because you can check out for a week and not miss anything. And in the NBA, if you miss a week, you've just missed 2 hamstrings, an ankle, 3 losses, and a star player going nuclear. But then you can turn around and catch right back up with it on Twitter and YouTube without having to sit there and waste 2.5 hours of your night. That really a lot of people don't have anymore. A lot of people don't have 2.5 hours to sit around and watch a game anymore. We're so freaking busy with all these different things.
Yeah. You touched on a lot of good points. Some of them were mine as well. I think the oversaturation of media in terms of the NBA has caused people to care more about the drama of basketball than the actual games. People care more about when Draymond Green swings at Rudy Gobert.
Man, I used to hear that all the time, and I covered the Cavs.
Than any actual – we see it on UCSS. Hell, we'll do it. We're doing a Dorian Finney-Smith trade report tomorrow. So the Cavs get Dorian – that's going to do 10 times more views than the clip we did today on Karis LeVert and how his shooting changes the offensive philosophy for Cleveland.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. We're going to do the Ben Simmons buyout conversation at some point, Jason. That clip's going to do stupid numbers.
Yeah.
And guess what's not? A reaction to something actual X's and O's in terms of basketball.
Pick and roll. A breakdown of the pick and roll.
The drama sells, and in the NBA, it has become a drama league. Before the actual product, it has become a drama league. These players have podcasts. Hell, the 76ers had a players-only meeting where Tyrese Maxey told Joel Embiid, stop being late. And Paul George did a podcast on it the next day. Like, his own team. And guess what? That podcast did like 600,000 views.
Sure.
Drama sells. So they don't care about the game. It's also worth noting that just because the TV ratings are lower doesn't mean the popularity of the league is lower. Those two things are not simultaneously hand in hand. People can watch and follow the NBA via Twitter and YouTube now in ways they were never able to in the past. You do not have to watch the Cavs game last night to know exactly what happened. You can go look at the Cavs Twitter. Go follow any of the Cavs creators that post all the highlights online. Mac, Tony, they all post the highlights. You want to see the best Evan Mobley plays? Just go on Twitter. You want to see the 10-minute breakdown of the game so you don't have to see all the missed shots? You can go on YouTube. So you don't have to spend 2.5 hours watching the game. Social media helped grow the NBA, especially during COVID. It is now what is tearing down their ratings. And the player empowerment movement, Jason, where players just leave teams, there's less diehard fans of teams and more diehard fans of players now. So I'll use your son for an example. I'm just going to make up. I don't know if AJ actually likes Ja Morant, but if he was a Ja Morant fan, he's just going to go on TikTok and search Ja Morant and see what Ja Morant did last night. He doesn't give a crap what the Grizzlies did. And if Ja Morant ends up getting traded to the Jazz, would never happen. I'm just using a stupid example. Yeah. Guess what he's going to do when he's on the Jazz? Look up Ja Morant highlight. He doesn't care how the Jazz do. And then the product. Too many teams shoot too many threes. The fouling at the end of the games makes the end of basketball games unbearable to watch. The Cavs, when they beat the Celtics, the last 34 seconds of the game took 17 minutes of real time. It's unbearable. They have to figure out a way to do it. The load management, there's no way to fix it, but it's an issue. And the fact that 67% of teams make the playoffs, Jason, on any given night, it's hard to get excited about an individual regular season game. I disagree when Bull says the regular season doesn't matter, but he's right that a lot of times a random Monday night game makes no difference in the grand scheme of things.
And one other thing on this, the league has been striving for parity. Well, the flip side to parity is the Miami Heat of 2010, 11, 12, 13 was appointment viewing. People wanted to tune in and watch Bosh and LeBron and Wade together. Those great Lakers teams is appointment viewing. They wanted to see those teams. Now the best player in the league is a media disaster who is probably going to win another MVP award. What is that going to make? 3 straight for him? 4 straight?
He has 3. It'll be 4. But it's not just him. It's all the best players in the league right now. Jokic, international. Luka, international. Doesn't like doing media.
Yeah.
Giannis, international. 3 best players in the league. International. SGA, international.
I don't know that it's the international component as much as a lot of it, I think. I mean, Dallas is a big market, but market has to do with it too. Jokic is in Denver. SGA is in Oklahoma City. Donovan here. This is what the league wants. The league wants stars in small markets, and they want small market teams to be able to retain those stars, which is better for the overall health of the league. But when it comes to ratings, I keep saying people in New York are going to be floating in the Hudson River when it's the Cavs and OKC in an NBA Finals matchup within the next couple of years.
How about Jackson Flickinger, who covers the Cavs for Fear the Sword? He works for SB Nation too. He was out in Vegas this week for the NBA Cup. And he said there was more people in bull riding, because there's the National Bull Riding Convention's out in Vegas right now.
Yeah.
There's more people in bull riding gear walking around the strip in Vegas than there are in Bucks Thunder jerseys for tonight's NBA Cup championship.
I totally believe it. And there's who is the face of the league right now?
It's Jokic.
Who is more appealing, Jokic or LeBron 10 years ago?
LeBron, if he had half a leg and 4 fingers on his left hand and his shoulder was discombobulated, would be more appealing. I feel like there was a few years where there's a little bit of a vacuum after Michael retired, and it was like, who's next? Who's going to take the mantle? And it was Kobe. But it wasn't immediate. Yeah.
And now as LeBron phases out and Kevin Durant's older and Steph Curry's older, still good players, but they're not carrying the torch for the league like they were. I mean, Cavs Warriors was monster numbers. Yeah. Did monster numbers because it was
star power.
It was a star-driven series and a star-driven league. And right now, I don't know. They have a lot of really, really good players, but I don't know who that face of the league is. And I guess you're right. It's probably Jokic, but he's a marketing disaster.
Yeah. So
who do you build the brand behind? And I think that hurts the overall product and numbers and ratings, because who's that team that everybody's gunning for? Who's that player that everybody's gunning for?
It doesn't exist. And with the player empowerment movement, and they leave and they go and they get unhappy and the teams break up, like there's not even, Jason, rivalries. Like, can you name one legitimate rivalry in today's NBA?
No. No.
It doesn't exist.
But I mean, Cavs Warriors was a rivalry.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but those guys stuck around. Steph and the best rivalry in sports is Gobert versus Draymond right now. But like, that's not a team rivalry. That's an individual I hate you situation. Right. Jordan Poole versus Draymond versus if you get the point, it's people who hate Draymond, but it's not because they hate the Warriors. It's so here are my solutions, Jason, real quick. And none of these are going to happen. I understand. I think this would make the NBA better. You shorten the regular. Once again, I am fully aware that this would never happen. But you shorten the regular season to 66 games. It's not appointment television, but it's a lot harder to take games off and coast if there's only 66 regular season games. Eliminate the play-in. Go back to how it was, 8 teams per conference. Or if you want to get crazy, top 12 records in basketball. East, West, I don't care. Top 12 records make the playoffs. Top 2 seeds get a bye. The other 8, just like the college football playoff, the other 8 play each other and then get in. But that way you have 12 teams making the playoff. That's a little over a third. 40% of the league makes it as opposed to 67%. And if you want to change the product on court, if you let teams shoot threes, they're going to shoot threes. I said this on the show. You got to cap the number of threes a team can take or eliminate the corner 3 or make dunks worth 3 points. How about that? Just any dunk is worth 3 points, which incentivizes high-flying action, getting to the rim. It changes the game. I don't love changing the game like that, but if I'm looking for drastic changes, way to make it a little more appealing to the casual fan on a night-to-night basis, that's another option that I think is at least worth entertaining.
Yeah, there is no easy fix to this. They're not going to reduce the regular season because it reduces money. They're not going to reduce playoff teams because it reduces money, and money drives all of this. I really like the idea of top 12, make it regardless of conference, because the West is better than the East, and there's probably going to be there's definitely going to be some better teams in the West that get left out, as opposed to some teams that make it in the East that probably aren't deserving if you go to the top 12. And it just feels like conferences don't really matter in the NBA. Like everybody plays everybody about the same number of times. It's not like baseball. It's more like football, although football still divides by conferences or playoffs by conference. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's
no easy fix.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it matters as much being East or West in the NBA in terms of whether or not you make the playoffs. It should be by if you're playing each other the same number of times. Like even in football, obviously you can't play all the teams the same number of times. But in the NBA, if you're playing everybody about equally, just take the top 12. I like that. I like that a lot.
We got one super chat, Jason, then we'll get out of here.
Have a little bit of a play-in tournament at the bottom for the last couple spots.
Sure. But more than half the league can't be in the playoffs. That is where I draw the line.
Yeah.